This video is for class 9 physics and we are doing current electricity. Now the term current means rate of flow, right. So rate of flow means how fast or how slowly a substance is moving or flowing rather. So here this rate of flow can be of water, the rate of flow can be of air, the rate of flow can be of charges, right. The rate of flow can be of anything. Now if it is the rate of flow of water, then it might be known as water current or river current. If it is the flow of air, it might be known as wind current. If it is the flow of charges, then it is known as electric current. Whereas the term electricity, right, is something to do with charges, right. So in this chapter what we are learning is where does these charges come from, number one. Number two, how do they flow, right, how do they flow, and what are the obstructions they find while they are flowing and what make them flow actually. So these all things will be cleared in this particular chapter. So let us begin the chapter with the first topic, which is source of direct current. As we have come across this term direct current, right, we shall discuss this a little bit later. Okay, well, let us discuss about source first. Okay, so we are familiar with the cells, right, used in a torch which lights up its bulb. The cells are the source of direct current, the batteries which we say in our common language. They provide direct current, abbreviated as DC. So we have come across this term direct current 3 times now, 1 2 3, right. The current flows from the positive terminal of a cell to its negative terminal. Okay, the direction of the current is taken from the positive terminal to the negative terminal through the bulb of the torch. The magnitude of current is given by a cell remains constant for sufficiently long time. That means until unless the battery is not dead, okay, in the idle condition it is giving us the same magnitude of current, that means same value of current. Suppose it is giving us 4 ampere, so ideally it will give us 4 ampere until unless it is not dead, right. So when the cell gets discharged, it stops giving current and becomes useless, right. Thus we can define direct current, okay, DC, as follows. So direct current is a current of constant magnitude, that means a flow of charges current. We shall discuss this term current in detail afterwards, right. So direct current is a current which is the rate of flow of charges of a constant magnitude, that means the value of the current does not change, okay, and it is flowing only in one direction, that means from positive terminal to the negative terminal, right. So here we can understand with the help of a diagram which is here we can see which is of a cell, and here we can see the current flows from the positive terminal to the negative terminal. So this arrow shows the direction of the flow of current, and the direction cannot be reversed, not possible, right. It is unidirection, in one direction, right. And as you can see, the current moves, goes through the bulb, right, and then returns back to the negative terminal. So this kind of current, okay, which whose direction is only one directional or unidirectional, right, and the magnitude, that means the value does not change, the current's value does not change. If it is 4, it remains 4, if it is 5, it remains 5. So this kind of current is known as direct current, right. So it is generally derived, or the general source of this kind of current is the cell, okay, is the cell. So in a cell, chemical energy, okay, is a chemical reaction going on. So chemical energy changes into the electric energy when it sends current in a circuit. A cell basically consists of two conducting rods called electrodes. Probably you have done electrolysis, so same kinds of electrodes are there at some separation placed immersed in a solution, also known as electrolyte, okay, kept in a vessel. So this all things probably you have done in your chemistry, electrolysis. So it is not electrolysis, but we shall discuss this in class 10, okay, how we can create a cell, okay. So kinds of cells, the cells are of two kinds, one is the primary cell, the other is the secondary cell or accumulators. So accumulator means it can accumulate charges, right. So it is known as storage cells also. So first thing, primary cells, these cells provide current as a result of irreversible chemical reaction. That means we cannot recharge this kind of cells, we cannot recharge this kind of batteries, like the cells which you use in your wall clock, the cells which you use in your remote control, right. So and it is cheaper also, right, but we cannot recharge them. The cells are discarded after use, that means that is they are use and throw, right. So when entire chemical energy in them has converted into the electrical energy, thus these are use and throw type of cells and cannot be recharged. So depending upon the material of the electrodes and the electrolyte, we have different types of primary cells. So primary cells also have some categories, like, okay, depending upon their electrodes and electrolyte use and the and how, where it is used, in which kind of device it is used, right. We have simple voltaic cell, we have Leclanche cell, we have Daniell cell, we have dry cell, etc. So these are the various kinds of primary cells. Then we have secondary cells as well. Secondary cells or accumulators, that means they can accumulate charges, that means they can be recharged, okay, because the chemical reaction in them are reversible. So secondary cells also provide current as a result of chemical reaction. In these cells, chemical reaction is reversible, that means like you're charging your mobile phone, and so they can be recharged after use. So after taking the electrolyte and electrodes in a vessel, the cell is first charged by connecting it to a direct current source. So during charging, the electrical energy changes into the chemical energy, reverse thing happens, right, and gets stored in the cell. So when cell is used to send current in a circuit, the chemical energy changes into the electrical energy. The cells can thus be used for a very long period of time, like your mobile phone batteries, okay, because they can be recharged again and again. Lead or acid accumulators, nickel iron or alkali accumulators are the two types of secondary cells commonly used, okay. There are others also, but these are two commonly used to provide low as well as high current. So depending upon the use, the cells can provide low as well as high amount of current. We use lead accumulators as the battery in a car, as it is capable of giving high current. Low current rechargeable cells are widely used in toys and mobile phones. These cells are also called storage cells because they can accumulate charges, right. Now difference between a primary cell and a secondary cell, I hope the secondary cell and primary cells are clear. Primary cells are those which cannot be like recharged, whereas the secondary cells are those which can be recharged, right, which can be like your mobile phone batteries, they can be recharged, okay. So difference between a primary cell and a secondary cell: primary cell, chemical reaction is irreversible, that's why it cannot be recharged. Chemical reaction is reversible, chemical energy is converted into electrical energy when current is drawn from it, always one direction, that means chemical energy to electrical energy. Whereas in the secondary cell, chemical energy is converted into the electrical energy when it is being used, but electrical energy can also be converted into chemical energy when the current is passed in it, so during charging. So while we are using it, reverse thing happens, chemical energy will be changing into electric energy. Number 3, it cannot be recharged, it can be recharged, its internal resistance is high. Now what is internal resistance? Again we have to discuss this particular term in detail. Internal resistance, for the time being you just try to understand this as obstructions to the flow of charges, okay, obstructions to the flow of charges, they are the obstructions for current. obstructions, right? They are obstruction for the flow of current. That means they try to avoid the, sorry, they try to block the current, not avoid, they try to block the current. So it's internal resistance, that means the blockage of the current is high, right? Whereas its internal resistance, the secondary cells, is low, that means it allows the current to pass through. Now 5, it is capable of giving weak current only, whereas it is secondary cells can give high amount of current as well as low amount of current depending upon the use. Number 6, it is light and cheap, it is heavy and costly, right? Then we have examples: simple voltaic cell, Lackland cell, Daniell cell, dry cell, etc. Whereas we have lead or acid accumulators, nickel iron or alkali accumulators, nickel lithium hydrogen batteries. So we have all these kinds of batteries which can be recharged, right? So I hope this thing is clear about the primary cell and the secondary cell. So this much for this video. Thank you so much.